YouTube, what's going on? New family, as I call you guys. Here for a new video. Seems like another, old one in the same place, but I want to create a story about that and change the location, but it's perfect. Um, so this video is gonna be me setting myself free. I have a fear that has been controlling me for the past few weeks. A fear that I saw yesterday, more than ever. It's a big block when I was in salsa. So, as you may or may not know, I do salsa like 3 times a week now, less than 3 times a week, and then socials. And I got the wisdom from my coach, my brother. We started a call now. We call it a coaching call, but it's a wisdom call because it's always just wisdom, and it's not ego saying that because it's not him. It's God, using him as a vessel and giving him wisdom. Because if you read the Bible, it is all wisdom. The Word is all wisdom. God is wisdom. Jesus is wisdom. The Holy Spirit is wisdom. And, I am a vessel of wisdom as well. That's why I only give, and make myself available as a vessel and speak. But, when you have fear, like I do with this thing I'm about to speak about, you block yourself. You block that next level and you feel it and you can't think about it. You can't write it down. You can't tell people about it and say, I'm going to do a challenge to overcome it. You have to speak and give it to the world. I see it as like a public exorcism. Like the demons are there. They're telling you don't do it. You're gonna, what they're gonna say, you're gonna seem weird. Stories, it's fear, it's control, it's fake. All stories, all fear, all control are fake. Stories meaning the thoughts in your head that try to tell you to do something and give you a story about this and that. It's fake. It's either low frequency or high frequency. Of course, you want to be high frequency. But anyways, the topic here is I have a fear of making a connection. I have a fear of following my spirit when it gives me a connection with a woman specifically. It's been a while since I've had any partner. I believe it's like 3 years now. My last one was I met her in Argentina, and it was someone that I met when I was trying to escape the feelings from the other one. So I almost see it as like another way to escape. We were together for 5-6 months, and that's where I got lost even more in drugs, even more in partying, staying up late till like 7 a.m., even more in like house music, DJs, feelings essentially. And I was even at a point where I wanted to, like, I was okay with just going in debt to be with her because she lived in a different country. She lived in Argentina, I live in Canada. So I was flying as often as I could. We did 2 trips in a span of 5 months, New York and then Argentina. But anyways, the point was that was my last relationship. It ended because I met the devil. I made a video about that in that club and just said, basically, to hell with this. This is not my life. I'm not gonna chase anything anymore because I felt the devil. God showing me just what the devil was, and he said, "This is not you." So I just dropped everything and said, "See you later." I mean, my feelings wanted to make it work, of course. You could say not my heart, but like that lonely feeling wanted to keep her, but it just wasn't working. Like there was no connection. She was out many times till like 7 a.m. 10 a.m. and like it was just over WhatsApp. It was a long distance relationship. So it was like we were just on WhatsApp and like I'd wait for her to like tell me if she's like, okay, and sometimes she wouldn't. So you have these stories of is she with somebody, is she cheating, whatever it was. So I was never in a place, never sure of myself enough to be in those relationships, and those you barely see the person. Like it's just calls, video calls. It's not a real relationship, to be honest. So anyways, that ended in May of 2023. So yeah, almost 3 years ago now. Crazy. But since then, done a lot of self-work, and now I'm at a point where I'm having things up here. My frequency is getting better and better. It's always a reset every day, but I have the right habits. I have the right environment to keep growing for now. I know God will send me to another place when it's I'm able to grow where I am now, but right now I'm still able to grow spiritually, so that's why I'm here. But basically, especially with salsa, it's something that my spirit called me to do, and of course, you're dancing with people and meeting other, women, stuff like that. But especially yesterday, like, the connections and the things I'm seeing, like, my spirit, like, for me, I'm seeing that I don't need flesh, like I can meet somebody and like my ego wants to create this scenario of who it's going to be, of, this like partner I'm going to be with, and who's going to be, basically by my side. And, it wants to create this scenario of like, um, what's it called? Your soulmate, your angel. And I made a video about this as well before, but yeah, I really believe that the next person is going to be, it, but also I'm creating a story about it. I'm like, trying to control who it is, and maybe want it to be a certain type of person, want it to look a certain way, even though the flesh does not matter, meaning like the sex is important, but I'm not doing it for sex. I don't need sex. I do it because, the connection, the spirit, it's a spiritual connection. So, when you have that connection with somebody, you're able to just grow more, like it's just about growth. But for me, it's like God is presenting these things, but I'm scared to make the jump. I'm scared to like make the leap. And I don't know what it is. That's why I'm making the video, because I want to set myself free from that and release it and just, remove it. But maybe it's a fear of her not looking a certain way. I believe it's the ego wanting to compare to my last one and wanting her to be prettier from the flesh. Or yeah, like the ego wants to compare and make it, someone that's more attractive than the last person, physically. I believe that's what it is. And, the connections I do have, you can't control the connection. Like it's, you believe it's going to be, you have this like maybe preference in terms of the flesh, maybe like a girl with dark features, whatever it is, light features, but God's going to give you the person, you can't control, because that's fear of, it has to be her with this look, and she has to look this way and be from this place, and it's control, it's fear. That's you blocking the connection. So that's what I'm doing crazy, as I'm just giving myself wisdom. I'm blocking the connection. I'm not putting my trust in God because I want to control and see. I want it to be from a certain place. Maybe I want her to be Spanish, maybe I want her to be whatever it is. Short, dark features. I have this like image almost of who it's going to be, but that's what's blocking it. That's what's not letting me actually flow and follow the connection, because not all connections are going to be your soulmate or your angel. Some connections, you can have multiple soulmates, I believe. I believe that my brother, who I work with, is a soulmate, because a soulmate's not sexual. It's someone that helps you grow spiritually. And I believe God's giving me the opportunity now, because I'm in a place where I can grow and accept it and, grow from it, to have these connections, these spiritual connections. But like I said, it's a leap that the devil's not letting me take, because he wants to have, for his ego, for my ego, this certain type of person. So it's preferring flesh over spirit. That's exactly what's happening right now. And, I have to put trust in whatever God wants from me, because at the end of the day, I've had many connections, especially with women in the flesh, and the ones that are the best, that I remember the most, were not, my most beautiful outwards, connections, but it were the ones that, I felt. You feel like you're at peace with those people. You feel like almost a kid if you're with them long enough. And it was, the ego was trying to like, the ego was trying to prevent me from having a connection by using flesh. This is how it was happening. Crazy. This is crazy. So, the ego's using, my devil of the woman, flesh, to prevent me from, the next level. So it's either I keep listening to the devil, and waiting for that one that looks the way it is, and then it probably won't be, or I can just follow the connection and trust God. Like for me, this video, as you see, it's even me learning every day. Every level is a new devil. I've hit various different levels these past few months, but this is the biggest one. Like it's like a block. Like yesterday I was dancing with somebody, and like she's like staring at me, she's like smiling like like not like in a weird way, but like it was there was a connection there. She felt it. I knew it was there, but I was neglecting it. I was like, she's not really like, someone. It's like ego, like someone I'll maybe be proud with or like be in public with, but your spirit can decide that. Your spirit, if it's a connection, your spirit's gonna be proud and say, this is who I'm with, and like, because God doesn't make mistakes. God is gonna give me, you watching, man or woman, as long as you align yourself, the connection for you, because it's even in the Bible, everyone has, their other half, but the other person that's gonna, help them grow, and it's all spiritual growth. Like God's not gonna put anything in my path that's not gonna help me grow, and He's put a lot of tests in my way of, flesh and something that's outwardly, beautiful and attractive, but like there's just no connection, there's no growth. Like, it's crazy how I don't even remember those beautiful women that I was like trying to like show the world, but like inwardly I was not connecting with at all. And I was like, you almost just do it for the public as opposed for yourself, but it has to be for you, for your spirit, for your growth. So for me, it's realizing that the devil's playing with me like crazy right now, and I have to just follow it, like avoid that story that I want it's going to be a specific person, and just follow the connection. Because I can't ask for God to show me the path and provide for me, and He is, and then not take that step. That's exactly what's happening. God has given me opportunities for my spirit to grow and pursue these connections, but instead I am listening to the ego and trying to control what she's going to look like, how tall she is, her background, her look, her smile, her eyes, whatever it is. Like, it's trying to create this like image in my head of who it's going to be. But at the end of the day, the flesh means nothing. I had a call with someone yesterday, 2 hours actually. I'm going to post it probably, just wisdom, like just crazy, like flowing wisdom. And I told him, like, this is actually me learning my lesson again, that the flesh is just a transport for either God or the devil. You can see people either living through spirit or through their ego, through the devil. And like, you can see this, people that do things, criminals, rapists, whatever it is, that is the devil in that person. It does not matter their skin color. It does not matter how tall they are, where they're from, or whatever it is. Biggest one is like race and stuff like that. It's simply the devil within that person acting out something. That is a story that they believed. Nothing more than that. But we, with the eyes of this world, including myself, like I'm saying before, want to, we put more importance on the flesh, on things we see, as opposed to the spirit and what it feels and knows it's right. So, the one thing I'm seeing, like, this is the next level, is like realizing that the flesh, even though it's what we see day to day, it's the least important compared to the spirit. And this also applies for relationships. This also applies for someone that does something to you. The story you're going to create about someone that does harm to you is going to be usually about what they look like, where they're from, all that stuff. But it's the devil working through them. Simply, you become a vessel for the devil, and he just acts out something, like hurting you, hurting someone else, killing somebody, I don't know, all these different scenarios. Just hate, acting out something hateful through that person is the devil. When someone is in spirit and we have a connection, and they're trying to, they also feel like connection, it's love. It's something that you have to just go into. So for me, this is a video to let you know that even I have this instance of ego that's not letting me connect because of the story of how she's going to look. She has to look better than the last one because the last one might see, or what are the kids going to look like, and all this scenario, stories, fear. It's fake. Like, I've put enough work, and I've allowed myself enough to trust God to know that whoever He brings me, whatever connection He brings me, is going to be perfect for me. So I have to practice that, and it's just removing that story, Like I've given my story to the world, so now you guys know the story that it is and what was blocking me. So now it's just trusting God, and not listening to fear or control or ego, and believing or creating a story about the person just because of how they look. That's simply ego. It's fake. And like I said, the spirit knows that. Like, you're neglecting your spirit by listening to the story, or me listening to the story. Or it could be you as well. Maybe you have connections that are presenting themselves to you, and you're just not making the jump because she doesn't look that way, or she doesn't look the way I want, or she's not pretty enough for this, or whatever it is. Like I said, I personally have stories where I've connected the most with the people that are not, the most physically, but the spirit at the end of the day is timeless. It's what stays with you, what goes into the next life, where you see Jesus and, live that. It's timeless. The flesh is gonna, get injuries. It's gonna, dissolve eventually as well into the earth at one point, but like, it's gonna change. And, maybe she looks one way and then the other way without makeup, she's a different person. Like, that's sometimes how it is. And like, you're creating this scenario of how she looks now is great, but then, maybe she's not as, I'm just giving myself, perspective here. Maybe she's not, as attractive without it. And like, it's so many different variables. So it's just fake at the end of the day. You have to just flow and accept the things that God's given you. And like I'm saying, God is giving me a lot right now in terms of connections I'm making, and especially because I'm just getting better, lighter and lighter, flowing more and more, and just speaking my wisdom and helping people. Like I said, 2 hours yesterday, just flowing, like just giving wisdom like crazy. And for my coaching as well, I will be offering just like individual calls, but of course you guys have the monthly, so it's gonna be 1 month, 3 months, 6 or a year. And there'll be different packages for that. But like I said, if we get a one call together, it's wisdom. I just give you wisdom, and you can see where you're at. But also, like I said, I'm also on my own journey as well, because no one's perfect except Jesus. So I have my devils at my level, and I'm setting myself free from it. And I believe maybe I was going to be a story of me being emotional, but this is it. I'm believing a story that the devil's trying to tell me that the flesh is going to matter more, or it should matter more, but it doesn't. And like I said, I'm trusting God, and the flesh, I'm saying, is of course important. There is that physical thing, but like, when the spirit is attracted and the spirit is there, it almost doesn't matter. It's crazy to think about, but like, it almost does not matter. So that's what's more important. That is what's going to guide me. But you have it here, so you guys can learn from it as well. And don't neglect those connections, because that's God presenting those opportunities. And you don't know what's going to happen. Just because you speak with that person doesn't mean you guys are going to be in love and go get married. It's a connection that's there. Like, you have to just follow it. It's spiritual. She can become your friend. She can become, who knows, whatever it is. But it doesn't always have to be a sexual thing. I always believe it was like a sexual thing. If I engage in this, it's going to be sexual from the beginning. So it's another story. It's not real. So, just follow those connections and see where it goes. And yeah, you're neglecting that kid in a way. I'm neglecting that kid, that inner kid, from having that connection, because not all connections are sexual. And if you believe that, it's the devil still running you in the flesh, because you need to have sex as often as possible, and like, to show the world. Like, for me, it's removing that part of the ego, like I mentioned, of the flesh, and how she has to look and stuff like that. It's fake. It's not real. So that's me setting myself free. I feel much better. I understand now. I have to trust more in God. Like I said, it might be, I believe it's going to be emotional. I believe it was going to be like, but honestly, I just answered my own question. And that's what you can do, as well with these videos. Like, speak what's on your mind, what you feel, your fears. And that's the only way to escape, like, to have that public almost exorcism, and just release those demons, because it's all spiritual. It's all the devil just trying to implant stories, and stories about the flesh, like for me, and controlling how something looks or how it's going to be. It's just control. It's fear. It's fake. It's not real. You're never going to understand how you meet that person, or what ends up happening with this or that. You can't control it. There's too many variables, way too many variables. So it doesn't let you flow. So like I said, now it's about time to flow. You know, you guys are gonna see what happens, but it's here, perfect. And yeah, I just got energy from it. So I'm gonna have my meal. I'm gonna do every week. I do a 24-hour dry fast. So right now it's 12:53. So I'm gonna have my meal, yeah, like maybe 1:15, and then till tomorrow dry fast. So I still have salsa today. So who knows what happens there? But everything is open because, you know, now it's about just following the connection, no matter what it is. If it's an old lady, if it's, you know, whatever she looks like, perfect, because God is perfect and he understands and knows, and he's not going to give you something that is not for you and within your desires, because he knows the desires of your heart. And if you're a children of God, like we all are, but you align yourself with him and obey him, like, you know, I do, and show on my Instagram, and, you know, help with my coaching as well, because like I said, this channel, you working with me, is going to be all wisdom. It's not information. I'm not going to just give you a 5-step plan and do this. It's going to be wisdom. We're going to speak one-on-one. I'm going to give you what you need, flow, and literally just become a vessel, and, you know, give you everything. So like I said, you guys see how I grow here in every area, because every area is spiritual, and then we just keep moving forward. So new levels, new devils, everything is perfect. God is perfect. Thank you, God, for letting me make this video. And yeah, we keep moving forward. So if you guys stay tuned on the video, much love. Appreciate you guys. Just a bit of how I grow. You know, like I said, I'm not gonna make you guys do anything that I don't do personally myself. So, you know, anything that I'm facing, fear, I just give it to the world and release that devil. And now it's here forever. You guys can see all previous videos. I've talked about ex-girlfriends. I've talked about relationships. I've talked about family. I've talked about everything. So it's all here. So everything. Anyways, God bless. Gonna go enjoy my meal. But like I said, if you did the video, much love. Appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. More wisdom coming as always. More growth. And of course, just setting people and spirits free. So much love. And as always, until next time, keep killing it.